Hello, everyone. I'm live again. Um, I am going to learn to do this a little bit better, like how to set reminders and things like that so that people know when I'm coming on and perhaps get more views as a result. I want to thank you if you have watched this channel. I don't have a ton of subscribers, but I do seek to put thoughtful content on this channel and important content on this channel as well, so that people can really understand what is important and certain arguments and things like that. So it's important to me. So I just want to thank you for being here and sharing this. And I do hope that you'd help the channel grow and give it a thumbs up. And if you already have, again, I really, really do thank you. It's not a big channel at this point, and I'm learning more things about how to run stuff on YouTube, and I'm hoping to do this better. But I wanted to get on here real quickly and talk a little bit about Layton Flowers' argument on judicial hardening being what the Bible is talking about over against being born in a depraved state, so depraved that a man can't know, understand, see, comprehend, as the Calvinists teach. Now, let me repeat his argument as far as I understand it. He will take statements that such as are situations where God does judicially harden. So he'll take statements about God making a people unable to hear. And then he'll say things like, well, if the natural man can't hear, then there is no distinguishment between judicial hardening and the natural man born in a state of what Calvinists call hardening. I think that's kind of what his argument is, as if I understand what he's saying correctly. So again, it's just like, well, if God judicially hardened someone to be blind, then how can it possibly be that he's born blind, kind of a thing. And I don't want the Calvinist people to be caught flat-footed on that, not quite understand how to refute that argument. And it's not a situation where I want to refute it because I'm like, looking for an Arminian to chew up and spit out, or a non-Calvinist to chew up and spit out, or something like that. That's not the case at all. I truly believe in Calvinism. I truly believe that the Bible teaches it. I truly believe that we're born in a state. So for me, it's a matter of integrity with what the Bible says. Believe me, if if Calvinism wasn't true, I would not be on board. I don't make a lot of friends as a result of holding to Calvinism. So believe me, I don't do this out of any type of like glee or any type of like, oh, I'm just looking to pick a fight or something like that. I mean, for me, it's a matter of biblical integrity, and it's a matter of when I hear an argument like that, and it has some degree of truth to it and has some degree of reasonableness to it. I don't want people to think, well, then do we abandon Calvinism? That Calvinism doesn't have a leg to stand on as a result of these arguments. So I kind of want to go through this and refute it. It's not that difficult to refute, actually. He is correct in saying that there is a judicial hardening which blinds a person permanently. But then he turns around and says, well, then how can a person be born blind? Well, here is the issue. Let me put it to you in kind of real simple terms as far as what's happening. There's a difference between the functional blindness, the functional inability that man has as a result of being born in sin, due to his nature, and then the final cauterization of that due to judicial hardening. So let me give you an example kind of on the other end of things. So for example, and this is what I'm saying man in his nature doesn't desire God, and he doesn't desire God to such a capability that it really enables him, that his inability comes not from anything cognitive. It comes from this deep-seated rebellion that he has against God. And then God further, yes, he does sometimes further judicial harden, but that doesn't take away any of the function. It just becomes more substantive. So let me give you an example. So to kind of put some feet on this, like I'm an animal lover. I love animals, and I know many of you out there are probably animal lovers as well. So if I gave you a puppy, and I love dogs. So if I gave you a puppy, and somebody gave me a puppy and gave me a knife and said, I want you to stab that puppy to death, I couldn't do it. I mean, what I mean by I couldn't do it is I couldn't bring myself to do it. I couldn't bring myself to do it because it's totally something that 100% outside my nature. Now, if it was a baby, it'd be even worse. I think I'd probably rather die than commit an act like that. What I mean by I couldn't do it is I mean that my nature is such that it renders me incapable of even taking steps in that direction. Now, if somebody who challenged me to this said, well, what do you mean you can't do it? You know, the knife is sharp enough, right? Right. Okay. The person gave me a sharp knife. The person gave me a puppy that was not made out of steel. It's tender enough, right? Okay, right. My arm's strong enough to plunge through the puppy with a knife. So there isn't anything exterior that's wrong. That's the problem. It is that it is so outside my nature to do it. There isn't anything outside. There isn't anything wrong with the knife or my hand or the strength of my arm or the weakness of the puppy. There isn't anything like that that's wrong, but it is so outside nature that I would need a fundamental change of nature in order to do that. I couldn't bring myself to do it. And so it is with humanity. It is not as though they can't understand intellectually what the gospel is. It's not that they don't have reasoning capabilities or know or can see it. They can't bring themselves to it. Now, what if somebody said, okay, you know what? The puppy analogy again. Somebody comes and says, okay, it's kind of lopsided or flip-flop, but somebody comes along and says something like, all right, your punishment now is I'm going to take the knife away. Now you can't. Now it's a can't in a further sense. I couldn't before, but now I can't because I lost the tools. Now functionally it's the same. Either way, I can't do it. But now, as a result, I've lost the tools to be able to do it. So somebody takes the puppy away and takes us away and whatever. So the natural man has an incapability based on the fact that he hates God. And he hates God to such a degree that there needs to be a substantive change in his nature in order for him to reach out to God or cooperate with cooperate with God in any way. God sometimes, because of this resistance, takes it a step further and judicially hardens. But it's substantive, not functional, okay? That's the real difference. So let me give you an example of in another example, probably a better one. If I cover my eyes, I say I can't see. And that's true. I can't see. If I cover my eyes, I can't see. I'm functionally blind. Now my eyes are still good. I could move my hands. But let's say what somebody wants me to look at is so repulsive to me as a person that I absolutely just don't want to look at it. Oh my gosh, it is the worst thing I could possibly think of looking at. I mean, it is just so horrible. And it's so distasteful to me in my nature that I become functionally blind, that I put my hand over my eyes and I can't see. Functionally, it's no different because it's a result of my nature. I can't see. Now, then somebody comes along and says, okay, you can't see, therefore, I'm going to take your eyes. you've refused to. See, the refusal has to do with my nature. The refusal has to do with what I can't stand, not with anything wrong with me, not with anything wrong with the functionality of me, my eyes or my hands or something like that. The unbeliever is in a state that he hates God. It says the natural man cannot understand the things of God. That's the natural man. Guess what? You don't have to be judicially hardened to become the natural man. The natural man cannot understand the things of God. Okay? It's the natural man. It's not the judicial hardening. Now, somebody might be so upset with me and say something like, see, well, you want to be blind, you want to cover your eyes, fine, I'll take your eyes away. Now, substantively, that something has changed. My eyes are gone. But functionally, it wasn't. Functionally, I was only restrained by my nature. Now I'm restrained by something further. Does God do that from time to time? Sure, he does. But that doesn't mean that people who God hasn't done that to can see. That they can't. They took off their eyes, but it's against their nature to do, if you understand what I'm saying. So this idea that there's no difference between judicial hardening and the Calvinist view of man being born in a state of hardening, of being hard-hearted or dead, that's just not seeing it correctly. It's not seeing it correctly. Man is in that state and he's held responsible because he hates God. He hates him to such a degree that it's not like he just has a bad disposition toward him. The Bible calls us naturally enemies of God. The Bible says that the natural man is at enmity with God, that no man can come to Christ. And that's another thing that Layton Flowers gets wrong, by the way. That's not just first century. Jesus says no man can come to Christ. Coming to Christ is the issue. No man can come to Christ. But I think I've made the case. So don't let him fool you on this, and don't let Arminians who repeat this argument fool you. And it seems like we are getting a new influx of popular Arminians, our popular non-Calvinists. I know you guys don't like to be called Arminians. I get it. But that seems to be the case. And of course, I don't want to believe error, and I don't think any of you want to believe error. And so when I hear something like that sounds kind of like, oh, wow, somebody could be caught flat-footed, I feel responsible as a Calvinist to say, no, he's misunderstanding. Yes, sometimes God takes a person who's going like this and say, I just refuse to see because I hate it. And sometimes God does take that person and metaphorically plucks his eyes out as a judicial hardening. But that person was unwilling to see before because he was incapable to see, not based on bad eyesight, but based on a bad nature. And that nature needs to be fundamentally changed and cannot be changed by self, and cannot be changed by self plus God. Okay, that's not it. Okay, so yeah, it's not changed by self, and it's not changed by self plus God, or God plus self. It is not as though that the person in the water gets thrown a life raft and he's almost drowning. And it could be, this is what they'll say, this is, it's not like he's almost dead, he's almost drowning. And it's not that he's almost drowning and has a bad disposition toward the person who threw him the life raft. This person's dead. He has a fundamental problem with his nature that he cannot act upon himself. The Bible says that God made us alive. It doesn't say God plus us. It says the Spirit gives life. It doesn't say the Spirit plus us. It says the flesh profits nothing. The flesh doesn't profit anything. No thing the flesh profits. There's no contribution to be made. And the term flesh there means the fallen human nature. It means true humanity as it is, fallen. It's not like, well, the guy's got the flesh and then he's got the spirit, and if he'd act on his... No, it means the fallen human condition is what he's talking about there. All right. Well, I hope that cleared things up for you. Don't let anybody pull this judicial hardening thing on you as some refutation of the first point of Calvinism. So thank you for this, and please like, comment, share, subscribe. It would really mean a lot to me. All right, we'll see you around. Bye.